So today, this particular teaching just really has been so incredibly like on fire just in me. So today we're going to be talking about monetizing your message, and this is for us introverts. And so if you have not grabbed the workbook for this, let me just go and grab it. Drop it. I'm going to drop it in the comments because this today's training is just like so on fire in me. So I want to make sure you all have it. So this workbook, it is not an opt-in, okay? It is not an opt-in. So you do not have to provide your email address to grab it. You just get it and use it, okay? Just really getting started. Today's message, again, we're talking about monetizing your message. And the reason why this is so like on fire in me is because I know that this is an extremely busy world that we are living in, especially this online entrepreneurship space. And so we as introverts, we a lot of times find ourselves trying to navigate this landscape that I know for myself, it seems like it's historically been dominated by extroverted strategies and just these loud, booming voices who are extroverts. But the power of us introverts, of the introversion that we have, it's not in the loud voices, but it's in that depth of connection and authenticity. And I say this a lot. So in this training, we're going to dive into the essential strategies that I feel like are really tailored specifically for us introverted entrepreneurs, specifically those of us who are looking to monetize our message and really make a meaningful impact. So why this teaching is important is that for us introverts, monetizing our message, it's not just about making sales. Now, at the end of the day, yes, we want to make sales. But for introverts, monetizing our message is not, like I said, it's not about making sales. At the end of the day, yes, we want to make sales, but it's really about finding alignment with our authentic self and creating those genuine connections with our audience. That's one of the main reasons, why I wanted to do today's specific teaching. Okay. This journey that we are on as introverts is full of challenges that are unique to us, that are specific to us introverts. And so without this real clear roadmap and really understanding these obstacles, being able to navigate them, sometimes we as introverts, we might find ourselves struggling to really gain that traction and visibility in these crowded digital spaces. So I wanted to make sure we're able to really navigate that and move forward. Okay. So make sure you grab the workbook. It's in the comments. Make sure you grab the workbook. It is designed to accompany this training session, specifically for the strategies for introverts, for us to be able to really navigate monetizing our message. Okay. So what I want us to do though is before we dive in, I want you to take a moment to just really reflect on your journey as an introvert entrepreneur and just begin to set your intentions with using the workbook for this training as well as just the information, and begin to implement these things because it's so crucial. So I'm going to just really like dive in. There's 4 strategies that I want to be able to give you to be able to help you begin to monetize your message. And you're going to have to sit with these, okay? Because they're not it's not the norm. It's not, things that you normally hear. So the first thing is You got to really know your audience's dialect, okay? You got to know their dialect. You got to be able to solve their problem, all right? Trends out here, they say give us fresh language and, to the situations that our niche is experiencing. But I want to tell you this, your audience is saying one thing and the same thing. For you to be able to monetize your message, you've got to find out what that is that they're saying. So you need to know what their dialect is. So you've got to begin to deep dive into understanding the language of your audience. Active listening as introverts is top tier for us. So active listening to their needs, engaging in conversations with your audience, your niche, okay, your ideal audience, and really staying attuned to anything that's changing with them so that you can change with them. By speaking your audience's language and addressing their issues directly, you as an introverted entrepreneur can really build out that authentic connection and begin to establish credibility within your niche. Okay. So the first strategy is know your audience's dialect. And why I phrased it as dialect is because we want to take generic words and use those generic words and expect to gain the attention of our ideal audience when we can't do that. We have to be able to use their own words, which is their dialect. So the first thing is understand your audience, identify your target audience, master their language. That mastery is so key. This research is going to be key. Research the language that they're using so that you're able to really pinpoint exactly what needs to be said. You can even go so far as to list out the primary issues that your audience is facing, brainstorm those solutions so that your business can provide those solutions. So that's the first thing. That's the first, how you absolutely 100% begin to monetize your message is really know your audience's dialect, not the superficial stuff, not the stuff that you think, but if you're learning someone's dialect, that means you got to spend some time with them. You got to do some studying, you got to do some researching. That means you have to dial into what the words, what they say in a sentence may not necessarily mean the same thing that someone else says in a different area. So, like we'll just use the old saying of, in the South, when somebody says bless her heart, most people now understand that when a Southern person says that, then that means I'm saying bless their heart because something's not quite right with that's going on with that individual or that situation. That doesn't necessarily mean a good thing when we say bless their heart. So keep that in mind. There's different things that are being said, different dialects. The second strategy is you want to embrace repetition. Embrace repetition. And what I mean by that is you got to be willing to speak your message over and 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 over again. You most likely will get tired of saying the same thing. But I want to tell you this, as your audience travels through your customer experience, they are hearing the same thing being said in a different way or at different parts of their journey along your customer experience. So if you're saying the same thing the entirety of the time, then They might come into your customer journey, your customer experience. They may come in here, and Susie Q might come in here, and Elizabeth might come in here. But if you're changing your messaging throughout the entire time, then everybody's hearing different stuff and there's confusion going on. But if you remain consistent in your messaging, repeating the same thing over and over and over again, everybody gets what they need. Everybody gets what they need. Doesn't matter what point they come in. So this is where absolutely 100%. So this is the key. This is where it's like why this is a strategy. You got to let that mundane feeling, you got to let that rule. Okay. And the thing of being innovative when it comes to your language, to your messaging, you got to let that go. You got to know their dialect and speak it over and over and over and over again. And I understand the idea of repeating yourself. It may seem counterintuitive, you know, but I have to say this: consistency breeds familiarity and trust. So you got to craft your message with clarity and purpose, and don't shy away from repeating it across various platforms. Okay. Because through that repetition, as introverted entrepreneurs, this can reinforce our messaging, and it is going to ensure it resonates deeply with our audience over time. Okay. So this is the second piece to monetizing your message. Crafting your message, develop a clear and concise message that really truly aligns with your brand, but then also resonates with your audience. Okay. And then think about having, that message across your multi-platform area, your real estate. You want to identify 2 to 3 platforms. It could be social media, it could be a blog, it could be a podcast, it could be, a newsletter, it could be whatever the case may be, your email list, whatever it is, shared across all of those platforms, 2 to 3 platforms. Share your message consistently. Okay. Share consistently. Invest in a content calendar. Create a content calendar that's outlining when and where you're going to share your message and what you're going to share. Because when you begin, if you take the time to really dial in and do the heavy lift up front, get your content calendar together, everything that you need for it, then that cuts out that time of, okay, what do I post today? And am I on brand with what I'm posting? Am I repeating what needs to be said? Am I embracing that repetition? See, this is the same thing when you think about affirmations. It's so counterintuitive. When you think about affirmations, you do those every single day. You say the same thing every single day so that you wire your brain. Well, that's what you have to do with your messaging. And that's how you begin to monetize it, because you're saying the same thing and your audience begins to know, like, and trust you. They know that you're not going to veer off into the unknown and be like, okay, well, what is she doing now? Then the third thing is, and I'm telling you, every last one of these steps, these strategies are so counterintuitive. It's like, oh my goodness. The third thing is focus on the destination. And I know that is like completely the opposite of what people say. But when it comes to your messaging and your audience, focus on the destination of your ideal client. Where's your ideal client starting? And where do they want to be? Everything else in between, we don't need to talk about that. Okay, because that everything in between, that's you providing your services. But when you provide the journey, you understand the journey. You have to understand the journey. You got to go back to step 1 and 2 for that. But you have to understand the journey. but you've got to focus on the destination. And again, I understand that this is counterintuitive to what we've always been taught in certain situations. The destination for your audience is their main concern, though. Your audience's main concern is their destination. I'm stuck here and I want to be here. If you are my person, I don't care what you're doing in the middle, but I'm stuck here and I want to be here. And if you're my person, you're going to help me get from here to here. So you've got to understand that journey from here to here and the in between, but you need to be focusing your messaging on their destination, because they don't care how you get them there. They're just saying, get me there. So you got to keep your eye on the prize for and with them while your message is going out. Okay. This is the transformation that your audience is seeking. So think about that. The journey, it is important. Remember that your audience's primary concern is reaching their desired outcome. That is their primary concern. So you're tailoring your messaging and your offering to address their needs directly. So you want to emphasize the challenge, the results, those tangible results and the solutions, rather than getting lost in the intricacies of the process. If you tell me, I'm going to get you from A to B and this is how I'm going to do it, I just need to know, are you going to get me there safely? It's really all I care about. Because if I have invested in my transformation and I have invested in you as the person that helps facilitate that transformation, I don't really care about the other stuff. Consistency is what I must address, yes. So you want to define that transformation and focus on the destination. Describe that ultimate transformation or outcome that your audience desires. Okay. And again, if you did not grab the workbook that goes with this, I've put it down in the comments. Make sure you grab it, because you want to use this. And again, it's not an opt-in. You just grab it and go. Okay. Come back and watch the video if you need to. Then the fourth and final element to this is embracing collaboration in its truest sense. This is actually going to require you to lean into 1, 2, and 3. You've got to lean into 1, 2, and 3. I find often, because I have an international podcast, so I've talked to a lot of people, and a lot of times people feel like if I just can get on podcasts or guest speaker or something like that, then I'll start getting clients. It'll increase my my revenue, things like that. If your messaging is off, you're just saying the same thing to the wrong people yet again, or you're saying the wrong thing to the right people. So if you're only touching the surface, then you're not going to see the fruit of your dreams. Okay. So leverage the power of collaboration really to amplify your reach and your impact, but make sure that messaging is still on point. You want to really identify those synergistic partners who share the values in the audience and that really want to explore opportunities, okay? Partnerships, cross promotion, people that don't mind doing this. There's no, well, I did it for you, so you've got to do it for me. Y'all are doing it together. And so by really effectively, and I put that, I want to say effectively, I put that in that sentence specifically, effectively integrating collaboration into your strategy. As introverts, we can expand our network. We can access new audiences. We can accelerate the journey towards monetization. We can do all of this together, but we've got to hit those key elements first. So what you need to do with this is really identify those potential collaborators, okay? And list out the individuals or the businesses, whatever they are, that you feel like you can expand your reach with, okay? Be strategic about it. Determine how you're going to approach that support? Is it going to be guest blogging? Is it going to be co-hosted webinars or live streams or, any of that? I want you to remember that consistency and authenticity they're really the key to success as an introverted entrepreneur. 100%. So make sure you use your workbooks to really guide you into the implementation of these strategies, because you really want your business to thrive. Now, I also wanted to go really quickly into some stumbling blocks that we can face as introverts, okay, as we're on this journey to monetizing our message. And I felt it was really necessary to really hone in on these. So, and these go along with the 4 strategies. The first stumbling block is we can get overwhelmed with the dynamics of our audience. The first stumbling block that we can encounter, like I said, is just becoming overwhelmed with the audience dynamics. Sometimes we can struggle with really trying to figure out, okay, what's their dialect? What is it that they need to that they're speaking? Trends shift, languages, needs, client needs, all of these things can evolve, they can shift. And so, we can become overwhelmed. So make sure you are really dialing in when it comes to your target audience, and don't allow the communication piece to hinder you. Okay. The second stumbling block that we can face is just getting tired of the repetition. It can be exhausting. I'm not going to lie to you. It can be exhausting. I heard someone say, and this is information that, not very many people are teaching this, but I learned this years ago. And I remember the person that I started hearing talking about this was saying that they got to the point where they felt like they wanted to throw up because they were saying it so much. But that's how it should be, because you're saying it just that much. And so for us introverts, it can seem like it's monotonous, especially for those of us that get bored easy. We love depth, so don't let the fatigue set in, fatigue of the repetition. Don't let that set in. Consistency is going to be key. Okay. If you have a fear of becoming repetitive, then dial into the reason why you're trying to reach your audience. Okay. Because again, go back and listen. You've got to figure out, how you're going to reach your ideal audience. And then number 3, really distraction on the journey. Listen, it can happen. Introverts, we're naturally deep thinkers. Okay. The intricacies of us focusing on a single destination can be difficult. But when you've got your business aligned with your values, your life impact, then it becomes a reality for you. It's crucial to really have that balance between appreciating the journey and keeping sight of the ultimate goal. So make sure you're not distracted. Okay? There's things like analysis paralysis, perfectionism, anything that can delay you on your journey of monetizing your message. All right. And so the fourth and final thing, and then I'm going to wrap up here, is I know it can be scary when it comes to collaborating. And a lot of times we can be reluctant, but that reluctance can cost you the impact that you were created to make. All right. So honestly, collaboration, it can be a powerful, powerful catalyst for the growth of your business. So do not hesitate to engage in collaborative efforts, even if it seems odd. Sometimes the most oddest situation will bring the best results. Okay. And I understand that as introverts, we can be reluctant with the collaborations because we love autonomy. At the end of the day, we love autonomy. We don't want to be overshadowed, all those kinds of things. So I get that, but go into the collaborative relationship eyes wide open and with specific goals. Okay. So this was, like I said, this was a message that it was like burning inside of me all day. I was up at 5 a.m. ready, ready, literally ready to release this training, this teaching today. So if you did not get to catch all of it, I did go a little bit longer than I normally do. It's about 33 minutes now. But if you did not catch the beginning, go back and listen to watch the beginning so that you get all of it, because this is a juicy one. Okay. And so love y'all. Bye.